Well, greetings everybody. I haven't been to sleep since I brought the last video, and I was up for days before I made the last video concerning the coronavirus, and I would that I would have planned for it more, but as soon as I had seen what was taking place with and now they're saying that Americans coming in from Europe will be allowed, but before it was there'd be no airplanes coming in from Europe. But now they're saying that Americans that are coming in, it's kind of confusing how they're doing this. They're closing schools down all over the place. Seattle's closing schools, 50,000 school children, poor parents out there having to work 2 jobs each, just to keep a steak on the table. And sometimes they got to send their children to, to school and get the free programs for lunches, because even working 2 jobs each, they can't make enough money to pay for the mortgage or for the rent and for everything else, including food. Things are scarce for some of us out there. And what I did not bring out, I did bring out about the oatmeal, old-fashioned oatmeal. Great stuff for you. Takes about 5 minutes to cook. But the thing is, I'm thinking that a lot of people, especially looking over here at the last video I brought, I just pulled it up. There's been 65 views on there. I can't believe it. It's like, wow, it's only been up about 7 hours. Sometimes it takes 5 years to get 35 views. There are videos I brought that don't even have 65 views on the videos that I brought out, give or take 5 years ago. So it's quite amazing, and I'm glad that some people are actually listening to what they need to do. But as far as people that are going to just be shut up in their houses, you're not going to be able to go to McDonald's or Burger King, where, even McDonald's, they did tests in their hamburgers and found that like 90% of their places had human flesh inside the burgers. Abortions are missing people ending up in the burgers. And I tell people, and 2 weeks later, man, I see them again and they're chewing on a McDonald's burger. It's like it's like, why in the world do I even warn people about these things? It's so discouraging to see that they fall back into the traps. Well, thing with the coronavirus, if you get it and you get real ill and you don't take advice, like getting your immune system built up with fermented foods, fermented vegetables. If you don't know of anything to eat that's fermented, please just take regular milk, pour it into a cup, put a piece of cheesecloth over the top of the cup and let it sit on your counter overnight. Drink a little bit here and there and fill it back up. After a while, it's going to coagulate, and it's going to be delicious and very nutritious for your digestive tract. Okay, just drink it and refill with fresh milk, and it will further in building up the beneficial bacteria that's in there. And it's a rather pleasant taste when you get used to it. It's like whey. Very beneficial for your human body, very beneficial to wake up that intestinal fortitude inside of you where your immune system is located. Plus, you need to clean out those old guts so that you can get, use of your second brain. You actually have a brain in your gut, and that's where a lot of people say, you got for brains, sometimes they really do. But take a look here. New York's got 215 plus cases confirmed now. These are confirmed cases, which means that they went to get the test done. 215 plus. And usually to get the test done, you're feeling pretty crappy. Okay? That's what drives you to get it, to have tests done to find out what in the world you got. It just so came back that 215 plus, it may be, 500,000. Who knows? They're trying to keep us in the dark. They're not going to let you know the exact numbers and such. And again, I'm using this site here, MSNBC. This was put out March 12th, which is today, just a few hours ago. and they're explaining on here a lot of well, they don't go in depth on anything. I'm about the only one that's telling you how to survive this when they lock you in your houses. Did you see in Wuhan where they were actually putting people in their houses and nailing boards across the doors so they couldn't get back out? All right? Who knows what they're going to do to us here? You know, we've seen these things. Take a look what took place with the Inquisitions. The more they practiced, the more horrendous their penalties became. It may be the same thing in the way when they put you in jail, they treat you lesser than an animal. Animals have more rights than you do when they put you in jail. Last time I was there, they put me in solitary confinement. The whole stay there was 44 days. There was 2 or 3 days where I was just in my boxer shorts and my socks with a pair of sandals on, and they put me into the observation room or whatever you want to call it, the where you first go in, and the holding cell. They had no mattress. They had nothing. I mean, I'm in my boxer shorts and my sandals and my socks, and they turn the temperature way down there. You can see your breath at times, you know. I'm freezing, and they kept me in there for like 3 or 4 days till I started saying, hey, look, man, my heart's going crazy. I didn't sleep. I couldn't lay down. Didn't even have a mattress. They were torturing me. And then after I said, hey, look, I'm having a heart attack here. You know, I'm having several, I believe. I don't have my supplements, things of this sort. Well, then they moved me directly to solitary confinement. Most people that go into solitary confinement go crazy. But me, what I did was I insisted on having one of these. If you don't have one, I got this from Dollar General, this particular version here. This other one I got from Salvation Army. They give away free Bibles. They don't even sell them. They'll give them to you for free. You'd be blessed if you could find one that's pre-1959. That's a King James Version, because in the preface, it'll actually tell you the name of our Creator was Yahweh. The name was never forgotten. It's just been replaced by the Canaanite gods and such. This here's a dollar Bible. This can get you through a month easily. Easily a month of solitary confinement, let alone 44 days. I didn't get up until, what was it here? I mean, I read. Now, I'm a slow reader because I absorb things, but I got up to, I'm thinking it was Hosea or Zechariah, something like that. But when I was reading, I was crossing out the name of G-O-D in there and the Jesus and such, and I was putting in, well, the Jesus I didn't have to because I didn't get to the New Testament. In parts I did. I to break the monotony, from reading straight like a novel from the back or from the front all the way to the back. To the end. A lot of times I'll pick up a book and I'll start reading it backwards. You know, I'll just scan it backwards. That's how I discovered in Revelation that it was actually in chronological order. Excuse me. But this will keep you from going crazy. Okay, when there's nothing to do, you're locked inside or under orders that if you come outside, they'll put you in a FEMA camp or they'll give you vaccinations or whatever they may want to do. But this here can keep you from being bored. If you live alone or with a family, you can read this to your family. One thing you could do is go into Proverbs, you know, and read a proverb every day. Yeah, actually, you can read all the Proverbs when you're stuck in your house and you got nothing else to do. You can really get into reading the scriptures and find the fine print in that contractual agreement. That's what it is. It's a contractual agreement. Now, where I was lacking in the last video was when I had talked about the oatmeal. When I was growing up, we ended up being very poor. You know, my dad had bought a house and didn't have insurance on it. It burnt down. He had bought a restaurant. They were doing really great. Burned down, didn't have no insurance on it. Lost everything, okay, each time. And then He had to work 2 jobs, full-time jobs, just to pay for the mortgage on the burnt house, is the burnt restaurant, and then also to pay for a place for us to live in now. In those days, you could do that because it was set up that a man could go to work and support his family. And then they got rid of most of the industry. They got rid of the steel workers and everything. We used to make a lot of steel, Pettibone and such, through Pennsylvania. We made our own metals, our own steels, and they closed all those things down, and then they opened up everything that's convenience. We don't really have much industry here in America left. But my parents raised us for a few years on just oatmeal, and they didn't know what I'm going to tell you now. It was plain oatmeal. Sometimes we could afford sugar. Sometimes we could afford milk. And sometimes we could afford milk and sugar. But not always. Sometimes we just had the oatmeal and it was boiled with a little bit of salt in there. I want to explain to you how to make gourmet meals out of the oatmeal. Okay? And the way you do that, one of the greatest ingredients that you should always have on hand, make sure you got some of this, okay? Another thing I failed to tell you was toilet paper. Okay? Now, I had a 30-roll pack of Scott toilet paper. I use it to blow my nose with and things, and other things I use this for as well. But I had a 30-pack, and it was about a year ago, and I still have 12 rolls of this. Well, actually 12 and a half. But if you're going to be locked down for 30 days, please make sure you got toilet paper, or you're going to really be upset with yourself. Toilet paper is a commodity. I mean, it's not easy to flush pages out of the Sears catalog, okay? So toilet paper is a must. If you don't have enough on hand, you better get it, because you never know how long this is going to last. You don't know if it's going to get so bad that it shuts down industries that make toilet paper and things, and they lose the information and the knowledge how to even make it. So please, if you have an idea that you're going to need toilet paper, and I'm telling you the truth, you will, and who knows, this virus might even cause you to use more toilet paper than normal. Please, when you use it, children, teach them, when you use it, best thing to do is take about a section about this long and then just fold it, manipulate it. I usually will leave the top part folded over for extra absorption and such, and then I'll fold it up. And I know this sounds horrible. Who am I to teach you how to wipe your buns? But that there gives you several layers. Now, I've seen children, man, that will take half a roll and go like this with it. And then they'll just dab and throw in it. When they're done, the whole toilet is filled up with toilet paper that is expanded from the water because they don't know how to wipe properly. I'm telling you, with these little conveniences, you need to teach your family. And if you don't want to do it, make them look at this video here and explain to them, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about because he's full of it, okay? And he uses a lot of toilet paper. I did have colon cancer there, I told you before, for many years. They gave me 6.5 weeks left to live when I finally went to get it checked out, just like these confirmed cases. Well, I knew I had colon cancer, and I believed and I was looking forward to dying. But when my ex came in the bathroom and saw the red blood and the black blood and blood clots as big as my fist sitting in the toilet, she freaked out, caused me to have to go get it confirmed. I was living with it for years, hoping to never wake up the next day. All right, so I know about the use of toilet paper. Sometimes I went 65 times a day. That's a lot of rolls of toilet paper. So if you don't go that much, like I've been doing much better because I've discovered ways. That's why I became a minister of health, was so that I could find out ways to treat this holy temple to where it don't break down so fast. I gave you some information on how to make the elixir there with the garlic, with honey, with vinegar. You know, the organic vinegar. You don't want to use distilled or anything like that. You want organic vinegar with the mother in it. You mix these together with some cinnamon and you know what you like. You put ginger in there and take a tablespoon or two every day. Who knows? It might even help keep away the coronavirus. Vinegar is very powerful, and so is honey, and so is garlic, and mixed together, they make the motley crew, especially when you use cinnamon. Now, when you make cinnamon, for you out there that don't know anything about cooking, all you know to do is say, Big Mac, Big Fry, I'll take a drink, supersize it. You know, I need all the human flesh that I can eat. I'm addicted to your burgers. all the things you put in there, and you're going to be stuck in your house without any real communication with anyone other than the telephone or from the computer. You know, depending on what programs you use, you may want to go crazy. It's going to be worse than, you know, being in a winter where you get out much less than you do in the summer, and yet you get cabin fever. This is going to be where you're at, and you're not going no place. And you'll be afraid if they knock on your door because you don't know what they're going to do. FEMA camps, put you on a barge, come up missing, end up in McDonald's burgers. Who knows? They got to feed the nation somehow, so please. Like I'm saying, old-fashioned oats. You don't want those minute ones because this only takes 5 minutes. You save 4 minutes buying oats that they cut up that allows the germs and everything in there, the beneficial ones, the bacteria and everything else, the life that's in there, they basically kill it, open it up to the oxygen, and it starts losing vitality. It starts losing a lot of the benefits of the oatmeal. This will help clean your intestines out as well. Very easy to do. I mean, listen to the instructions. It says, boil water and salt, stir in oats. Cook about 5 minutes over medium heat, stir occasionally. Now, usually I'll wait till the water is pretty much absorbed, and it gives you the amount of what you put in there. All you need is measuring cups, and if you don't have measuring cups, it's okay. I don't even use it. I put water in the pot, and then I get it boiling, and I pour in oats to the amount that I know that it's going to absorb. It's a hit and miss thing. Sometimes I add a little bit more oats. Sometimes I'll add a little more water. But I'll tell you how to make oatmeal fantastic, and it can be different all the time. All you need is cinnamon. You put cinnamon in there. See, you know, this is beautiful stuff. You put some cinnamon in there. Your main ingredient may be something like this. You put about a tablespoon per serving, or a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, whatever you prefer. I don't care for sugar much, but I do use brown sugar. Okay, it's got the molasses in there. Molasses has vitamins and minerals that are just outstanding. But I put that in the water, get it boiling with some cinnamon. Okay, now there's other things you can do to zest it up as well. You could put in raisins, you could put in a sliced apple, but the thing is, 30 days you're going to be locked up. You may not have these fresh things on hand. So if you got things canned, like even pineapple, you could use pineapple, but raisins, you know, you could buy those and store them, and they'll last for a long time. Dried cherries, excellent, dried cherries. Different dried fruits you can take and cut up and put it into the pot and boil it before you put your oatmeal in. Another thing you might want to use is some allspice. Okay, allspice is very nice. It tastes great. They also have things like pumpkin pie spice. Okay, when you use this, it makes your oatmeal taste a lot like pumpkin pie. And then, of course, I always put in ground nutmeg. Ground nutmeg is excellent for donuts, things of that sort. When they make a donut, What makes them so tasty is the nutmeg. Almost addictive. It's actually a hallucinogenic. If you eat too much, could get you very ill, but very tasty. Here's another thing. Apple pie spice. Use some apple pie spice in there. Here's your raisins, just get you some raisins and put them on in the water. Let it boil for a while first with these things in there to rehydrate the dehydrated fruits that you put in there with it. And then after they bulk up, after they puff back up almost to the size that they used to be, then put your oatmeal in there and stir it around after it absorbs and it starts boiling. What I do is I cover it up and I'll just turn the heat right off and I'll go do something else. Set a timer for like 10 or 15 minutes, and I usually only cook when I'm hungry because, used oatmeal isn't the greatest. But here's another thing you could do, even with leftover oatmeal. Get some nice organic flour. Do these things immediately if you can. Organic flour mixed with oatmeal, and you put in some, you don't want to do it for the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You have to get rid of the leavening from your house. But if you put in baking soda and some cream of tartar, it will leaven the batch. Put an egg in there if you'd like, a little oil. Mix it up and make cookies. Okay? So many things you can do with oatmeal, and that's why I was saying, that's why I brought out oatmeal, is because the importance of it first. It's got very beneficial nutrients in there, life-giving nutrients, that when you eat it, it's holy to your body. It's holy to your temple. It's beneficial for you. It'll keep you alive, keep the brain going. Another thing is put a chunk of butter in there with it if you have the butter. Excellent. It will fill you up. You'll feel great. And it's really cheap. Okay, it's like $2 and I think $2.50 or something like that for this big old jug, and it's 1.19 kilograms, which is it says here 2 pounds 10 ounces. So 2 pounds and 10 ounces. This will make a great big pot of oatmeal, enough to feed about 20 people. Let me see how many servings it says. Does it? There's 30 half cup dry serving. So when it's cooked, you end up with about a cup each for 30 servings. So you get 30 servings out of a little container like this. You can survive 30 days on a container for yourself if that's all you want is a cup. Oatmeal I find just as versatile as rice. Rice you can use in anything. You can make rice pudding even, with a little bit of egg and some water and such. There's so many things you could do with rice. I mentioned that. I mentioned the oatmeal. I mentioned chicken and beef and milk as well. Think of these things. Toilet paper. That's what you're going to need the most, because sometimes when you don't eat, stuff is still coming out. Because like when John Wayne died, they did the autopsy and they found in his intestines over 45 pounds of impacted pookie that had been building up over the years because he never did a colon cleanse. I tell you, if you've never done a colon cleanse, it might be time that you get these things. You've only got a few days before I believe they're going to shut us down. Now, I'm not trying to be a prophet and prophesy here. There's some people out there saying that coronavirus is a hoax, that they're lying. Well, even Hitler said the bigger the lie, the more they believe it. So if this is a lie and no one's got coronavirus and they're just using the news to say that people got it, to stick you in your homes, to crash the entire economy, to put you under martial law and quarantine, it worked. Be prepared for their works. They've got an agenda. It's on the Georgia Stones. For crying out loud, people. It's Agenda 21. Look it up. No, I don't have coronavirus. Very humid here. I've told you before, my lungs were seared with hydrogen peroxide 35% many years ago. Any humidity used to make me so asthmatic I couldn't breathe at all, like breathing through a straw. Now I use the Aclonia Cava extract. I bought extra bottles already to ensure that I'll have them to go through this stint that we're going through for a while. After that, Yahshua's going to have to do what he's going to do to me, but I bought the best that I could, things that I know will help this holy temple to fight off these problems. So get the toilet paper, use oatmeal. Oatmeal is great and everything. Like I said, you can make cookies for the youngins, make them for yourself with oatmeal. You can use oatmeal in so many different ways and make them taste fantastic just by adding a few things. Like I said, apple pie spice, ground nutmeg, cinnamon, and pumpkin pie spice, and allspice, and don't forget the brown sugar. The brown sugar is a big thing. Now, anyone that's never cooked before can do this as if they're a chef. You don't have to starve to death just because you don't, because you're standing in front of your stove telling the burners, hey, I want a Big Mac and fries. It's not going to cook itself. You'll have to take the incentive and learn how to do these things. You're going to have to learn how to make your own bread by the looks of things, because they don't have any idea yet how long it's going to, take place. They're canceling all these events for 250 people and above across the United States, going on globally, if you believe in a sphere. Otherwise, it's going on across the entire earth, which isn't flat because there's mountains and valleys and everything else. So everybody's wrong on everything. A lot of people say that I think I'm a know-it-all. Well, I'm going to tell you what, I know everything that I do, except, those things that our king hasn't revealed yet. And then when he reveals them to me, then I know everything again that I know. And I'm telling you, that the way that it's looking, they've been looking for an excuse. They flew airplanes or missiles or whatever into the Twin Towers and then detonated it to make everyone go, oh, those horrible airplanes, not realizing that, George Bush is sitting there, with a book about a goat or something upside down in a children's classroom. When they told him what went on, he's like, oh, really? Oh, was it just like we planned? These things were American made. We used to make high quality products and such. Now we make high quality detonations and missiles and, ammunitions and ways to kill people. And then we sell it to other countries. And, just because there's this confirmed coronavirus going on might not be real. But when they're locking you in your door after putting it out in the news that it is, what choice do you have but to be submissive to what they want you to do? So when they do this, be at least prepared. Don't let them starve you to death. It's not easy. I know you can go for 44 days without food, because I did it. I had no choice in the matter. But I think our king put us through these things. Just like so many of y'all may get a disease or something and not even know how in the world you could have got it, if you're a believer and this comes on you. Well, our king allows these things to come on you so you can slow down and smell the roses. Most people, there was a time when I was young, I called my mom, after I had the vision, told me to leave my father's house and go build my father's house with gold. I called my mother. I says, hey, Ma, I says, what do you think of the roses in the front yard? She says, what? There's no roses. And I'm thousands of miles away. And I said, oh, yeah. He says, and when's the last time you looked at the full moon or the moon at all? Oh, my, I don't remember. Well, she went outside and she's like, oh, they're so beautiful. She didn't even know the roses were up, but I remembered they came up at the same time every year. Sometimes these diseases and everything are for us to slow down, get ourselves, our roots reestablished, to learn more of the faith, and to walk in the truth. And sometimes it actually brings people closer together. So that's my 30 minutes here. I love y'all. Let's survive this if it's true, and if not, I'm still going to say bye.